Yo, A1,
What's up, man?
the iPhone 10 though, man, talk to me about it. I know you like iOS, I know you like the iPhones, man. Let me know, what's your thoughts on it? What do you think of it?
Good question. I've actually really enjoyed this thing, and you know me, I do love my Apple products, but there are some features on this thing that really frustrated me, and one of those things is Face ID.
Oh, serious? For real? Man, that's interesting. Kind of feel like we've been here before, Other inputs, and it's really something I just cannot live without. So definitely I'm going to be sticking to the Galaxy Note 8. So back at it again. So it's me and A1 with another collaboration. Now this time is on the iPhone 10, and we both use the iPhone 10, and it's probably one of Apple's best mobile phones to be released. And there's things that we like and we don't like about it. And actually me predominantly as an Android user, I'm actually going to be talking about the things that I like using about the iPhone 10 every single day.
And I'll be talking about the stuff I don't like about the iPhone, and that's coming from an Apple user. Sup guys, welcome to another collab, and hope you guys enjoy this one as well.
So definitely sit back, relax, watch our review and our take on the iPhone 10. So there's three main things about the iPhone 10 that I'm going to talk about that I really enjoyed using it since I've had it from release. First is going to be the camera, and this is mainly based around the portrait shooting mode as well as the video shooting frame rates that the iPhone 10 has to offer. And last is actually an intangible experience that not many people tend to talk about, which is the typing experience. The typing experience on the iPhone 10. So the camera experience on the iPhone 10 with the portrait shooting mode, Apple introduced portrait lighting mode in the iPhone 8 Plus and the iPhone 10. And although it's in beta, when it works, it really works well. And it's something I actually really enjoyed using more and more than I actually thought I would. And there is different phones that do portrait mode, and in some cases better than the iPhone 10, but actually when it works on the iPhone 10, it works with style. The portrait mode pictures on here are pure swagger, where you've got the monochrome stage lighting, as well as the stage lighting effects, as well as the contour lighting. When you're moving through, it really gives a nice different effect that you can do before and after the fact. And you can actually see the portrait mode before you actually take the shot, and also after you take the shot. I can't wait to see the potential of this once it's out of beta. But right now, it's actually one of my favorite features. Although it can be a bit of a hit and miss, I really enjoyed using it, especially when it worked. If you take a look at some of these samples, you can see that with this shot here, it really pulls well, and you can really go through different options. And actually what you're seeing here was from the front facing camera. This wasn't even a main camera, and it's absolutely dope. And if you check the main camera shots with the portrait mode, you can really see that it has different styles and a really nice finish, and I cannot wait to see this in full effect. Next is the video shooting frame rates. This phone does 4K 60 frames a second, as well as 1080p 240 frames a second. There's almost no phone on the market that does that, especially with 4K 60, and this allows for high crisp option of high frame rates as well as slow motion option, and it really gives that cinematic effect in post, and it's amazing to see. And it's almost unreal to imagine that this kind of shooting modes is actually on a smartphone. And in terms of actually using it as your first beginner smartphone camera, this is something that can actually be well recommended, and I was really impressed. And someone that's more of a videographer, and also where I've started vlogging, it's really been enjoyable kind of using this to actually have different shooting modes to be able to have flexibility, and it's something I really enjoyed. And I think this is something where they have over the competition, where they really need to catch up and innovate. Last is something that most people don't tend to look at when they're thinking about their phone, but it's actually very crucial. If you think about how many times you do this on a regular basis on your phone, the typing experience. Man, I cannot tell you how surprising and how refreshing the typing experience is on the iPhone 10, and it's something that you just cannot explain. It's something you just have to experience, and the minute I experienced this, I realized that this is probably one of the best phones that I've used in terms of typing experience. And if you most know me and you follow me, I'm active on Twitter, I'm active on social media, I'm active in my comments with you guys in the comment section on YouTube, and being able to just have a phone that has a great typing experience really makes it enjoyable, quick and immediate. The response of it is smooth, the feel of the glass is nice, and it's something that is a nice intangible where I think they really ace it well, and it's just something that I've enjoyed really much when I'm using on the iPhone 10. Oh man.
Well done, lover of tech. I do agree with all your points. So while the iPhone 10 is great, me personally, there are some stuff that I didn't really like about it, and I'm going to talk about 3 things. First is the app switching. So the app switching is really annoying in my opinion, just because you have to swipe up, hold it there, and wait for the apps to come up. And then if you want to close out an app, you have to hold the app again and then you swipe up. So it's just a couple extra steps that I feel like Apple could have taken out, such as holding the app again to close it out. And if it's Apple's way of safeguarding people from accidentally closing their apps, then I feel like that's not a really good reason, because if you do accidentally close your app, the iPhone 10 is plenty fast to reopen it and reload it. So I just don't get why they put that extra step of closing an app. The second thing I don't like, it's a small thing, but it's something that I didn't like from my initial review, and that's not showing the battery percentage. That's the first thing I usually turn on when I first get my new iPhones, and not having that there is really annoying. And of course you can swipe down from the top right corner and it shows, but it is nice to have it right there on the home screen. The only times I am more aware of my battery percentage is once it gets low. So when it's at 100% or more than halfway, then it doesn't really bother me. But when it's below that, when it's around 20 to 30, even 35%, I do want to see the battery percentage at a quick glance. So it is kind of annoying, but at the same time, it's not a huge deal. That's just me personally that I didn't really like about it. Now the third thing I didn't like, in some situations, is Face ID. In most situations, Face ID worked flawlessly, but there are a couple times where it kind of failed and was kind of inconsistent. The number one place I can think of is when I'm in bed. For some reason, it does not work in bed. Like, I don't know if the Face ID hates pillows or something, but when my head is resting on a pillow, it doesn't seem to recognize my face, and I always have to put on a passcode. It's just so annoying, and in bed is the one place where I don't want to do a little bit of work, and that's just me maybe being lazy, but it's just annoying that it doesn't work, and then you have to put your passcode in and then it works. Like, I don't know what it is. I know Touch ID wasn't perfect either, but the fingerprint sensor had no problems in bed. So I don't know what it is about Face ID. Maybe it just doesn't like me, but for some reason, it does not work in bed.
Now overall, if I give you my conclusion on it, man, the iPhone 10 is a great phone, and I definitely get the appeal of it being the main daily driver. It's something I use alongside my Android phone as my second daily driver, and I know the appeal around it to be the main phone to use, especially because of the Apple ecosystem, and I definitely do understand it, but I think for me it's not that deep. Maybe it's just my interest and my preference to Android or the demographic in the world that I'm at, but actually the Apple ecosystem is not enough for me to be enticed to actually justify it, especially for the price that it comes in, even though it's a great phone. It's probably Apple's best phone to date.
For me, the iPhone 10 will still be my daily driver just because I do have all Apple products, such as the new HomePods, AirPods, iMac, MacBook Pro, iPad Pro, Apple Watch, the list goes on and on. So having all that stuff, it just fits really nicely with the iPhone 10, and everything just works very well together.
Man, this Apple ecosystem, bro, you can't seem to get away from it.
Yes, sir. And I suggest you do the same. And I'm glad that Lover of Tech mentioned the typing experience and iMessage, because that's probably one of my, if not my favorite feature of the iPhone, because it's nice when I have all my friends having iPhones and iMessage working so well with that and not installing an extra app.
Yo, like serious, you're a fan of that as well, right? Man, you're a true Apple fan. I can give you that, man. I can give you that for sure. I can give you that. So if you enjoyed this collaboration, definitely hit us up, like, share, and make sure you subscribe to both our channels if you want to see more content like this in the future. And also, while you do subscribe, make sure you hit that notification bell so you can see all the latest content that is posted on the Lover of Tech channel and the A1 in the Box channel. And again, I'm your host Ben on the Lover of Tech channel, and we're both signing out. Peace.